everybody. Welcome to the Full Court Press. I am your host, Drew Duncan. Do not forget that Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan 83. Additionally, you can find me on YouTube. Simply look for Drew Duncan. The Full Court Press is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. And don't forget that we are all places where you listen to podcasts via Spreaker, Spotify, Google, CastBox, etc. We are there. I watched a thing the other day. As a matter of fact, I even posted it on my Facebook, where the UFC had put out this Bad Blood, this Rivals deal that helped kind of propel MMA and make it great. And how you almost needed something extra, right? They talked about the rivalry that Royce Gracie had with Kim Shamrock and how they had some really great bouts in the beginning. But they said that it got to a point where you could no longer just put two great fighters into a cage and you could fill up seats, that you needed something extra, that the way a Tito Ortiz promotes a fight, that the way a Conor McGregor promotes a fight, the way a Miesha Tate and Ronda Rousey legitimately didn't like each other helped promote a fight. That Bad Blood basically sells. And I've had the very good fortune of interviewing a lot of MMA fighters from all different walks of life, right? Matt Brown, Cub Swanson, Tony Ferguson, Ilima McFarlane. And I have asked several different fighters on several different occasions, and even a couple of promoters, why can't we simply have two people step into a cage and call it good? Somebody like an Amanda Nunes, for instance, who's not really a flashy individual, who's not all over the place on social media all the time, but just goes in, does her job, wins fights, and that's all there is to it. And I have long since said that I believe, and I've been saying this now for about 3 years, that MMA is becoming a fad. And I remember I had the good fortune of interviewing Royce Gracie one time, and I asked him, I said, do you like it better in your days, the days of pride and the days when the UFC first started, where it was a little more underground? Or do you like it now where it's more on a mainstream level? And he told me that it's good because it's the same rules for everybody. Remember, back in the day, there were only two rules. You don't hit anybody to the marbles or in the privates area, right? And you don't hit in the back of the head. Those were the rules. There were no weight classes. I mean, you had 300-pound guys fighting 200-pound guys. And he said it's the same set of rules for everybody now. And he told me that it made it relevant all over the world. And I can see that. Here's the issue, though, is I believe that MMA, and something that I had feared, has become fad. It's become mainstream, and it's become something that everybody believes that they can do. And I remember when Justin Bieber posted that he wanted to fight Tom Cruise, and I thought, dude, there is no way in hell. I just scrolled past it. Matter of fact, I did the exact same thing that Dana White said recently in an interview that he did, and that was, I just scrolled past it and just, whatever, blew it off like everybody else. But now in that same interview, Dana White also says, until people very close to me and close to Tom Cruise said that he would be actually willing to make this thing happen. Dana White said in the same interview that he never thought that McGregor and Mayweather was going to happen, but it did, and that anything is possible. And that if there's anybody who should promote a fight between Tom Cruise and Justin Bieber, that it should be him. He said it would be the easiest fight he's ever promoted. What's next? What's next? Sly Stallone taking on Arnold Schwarzenegger, Terminator versus Rambo. I mean, there's no way. I thought to myself, hell no. This would never happen in the real world. But unfortunately, it looks like this legitimately could happen. I'm going to tell you something. I have spent my money on frivolous stuff in my lifetime, especially in my younger days, right? I'll never forget, I one time bought a pair of $175 limited edition jeans that ripped in 3 days. I sat down and the damn things ripped. I was like, really, bro? Really? I one time spent $150 on a pair of shoes that lasted me like 3 months. I will not spend my hard-earned dinero on this sham if it ever comes to fruition. Hell no. You got me messed up. Are you serious right now? We have the possibility of Tony Ferguson and Conor McGregor fighting each other. We have the possibility of a fight between McGregor and Khabib. We have a possibility of a fight between Ferguson and Khabib. Like, are you for real right now? Like, this is legitimately what we're talking about? Is it such a down time of year that this is gaining any sort of traction whatsoever? I know baseball is boring, but come on. And you know, one of the things is that really kind of led me to this fat deal was, have you ever seen the footage? I think it's called Soccer Mom Gets Knocked Out, right? And I actually got to interview the lady who knocked out the soccer mom, and that was Ilamile McFarland, right? I got to interview her the week leading up to her fight, her title fight, I should say. And I asked her about that, and she had told me that her family had flown in, and they were all really exhausted, and it was around like midnight or 1 a.m. somewhere in that neighborhood when the fight actually finally happened, and it was rainy and cold, and she was just really kind of over it, and whoever was in front of her was going to get obliterated, and that's exactly what happened. But the thing about it is, though, that I took notice of was this individual that she was fighting appeared to have no coach, no trainer, no nothing. It appeared to me that somebody had even kind of stepped up and offered their services, and she just kind of turned them away. I didn't see any corner person to give her any kind of guidance or direction. I asked David Rickles about it one time, and he said, well, if anybody needs knockout footage, try to get me to fight. Called me Drew the Pumpkin Duncan. I was like, dude, no, man. I haven't trained athletically in anything in like 20 years, bro. Like, seriously? Think I'm going to step into a cage and get my head kicked in? I'm going to need like at least a couple of years of real diehard training to do this. And when you think about like CM Punk crossing over, when you think about, you know, all the things that have happened now with WWE and MMA and all this crossover and everything, it really has gotten to a ridiculous point. And this is why I say I fear that MMA has become a fad. You want a sport to be respected. This is definitely not the way to go about it. There are people that I have interviewed like Stephen Wynn who have dedicated their entire young adult life to martial arts. There are people out there like Hoist Gracie. I wonder what Hoist Gracie would think about this. Given everything that the lineage that family has from his dad all the way down. When I interviewed Hoist Gracie, I asked him, what's the one thing you want people to know about you? He said, my father did not raise fighters. He raised instructors. And we fight to prove that our style is the best. And he said, since they proved that their style is the best, which is an opinion of his, it is now about who is the best athlete, who has the best strategy. That's not what this fight is about. This fight is nothing more than Celebrity Deathmatch. You remember that show back in the day, Celebrity Deathmatch? It was on MTV, like had Stone Cold Steve Austin and like Beavis and Butthead fought each other. Yeah, cool. Yeah, bunghole. Remember that? Beavis and Butthead fought each other. That's what this would be. Beavis and Butthead fighting each other in a cage. Guys, I am Drew Duncan, host of the Full Court Press. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan 83. Don't forget you can find me on YouTube. Simply look for Drew Duncan. The Full Court Press is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. And the Full Court Press by Drew Duncan is anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Simply tell your device to play the Full Court Press by Drew Duncan. And as always, don't you dare touch that dial.